All right, we are back. Well, I'm back at least. Back again with another edition of the podcast. Uh, Joined as not always, but most of the time, it's been like a 50-50 lately. My co-host Alec Krauthamel. Alec, huge win for Rutgers today. I don't think any of us were really all that confident in this one, but they ended up winning. But before we get your thoughts on that and everything, we are sponsored by. We have two different sponsors. Knight and Day Apparel. Attention, Rutgers fans, get ready to show your Scarlet spirit with Knight and Day Apparel. Whether you're hitting the books, cheering at the game, or hanging out with your friends, our stylish and comfortable Rutgers gear has you covered from cozy hoodies to trendy tees. We've got the perfect fit for every occasion. Don't miss out. Shop at Knight and Day Apparel and elevate your Rutgers wardrobe today. Go Knights. If you guys haven't already, check it out. Rutgers Rivals is a promo code. Get a little discount. A lot of new basketball stuff is popping up over the past couple of days, so definitely check that one out. We're also sponsored by BetOnline. BetOnline is the world's most trusted platform and your number one source for online betting. From the earliest odds to in-game live betting, BetOnline provides you with all the action and the ability to watch the games as they happen. With the largest selection of odds from everything from football, NBA, college basketball, NHL to UFC and MMA. Head to BetOnline today to get into action. America's most trusted online wagering. BetOnline, the game starts here. Alec, bowl game back on. Not Duke's Mayo, but kind of Duke's Mayo. We're back.
Wow, how long did it take you to whip that one up?
I see. Oh my God, no. High level thoughts about that was a bad one. High level thoughts about this game and this. I guess you can call it a little bit of a comeback.
Yeah, I think you can. In the press box, I said it was the 16th come from behind victory in Greg Schiano's tenure. So I guess if they do, then you can also consider it that. But yeah, a heck of a win. Defense was obviously the thing that stuck out to me as the most improved. The defensive line absolutely came to play today, particularly late in the second half and in the fourth quarter. They really got home a lot. And it was some of those guys that you may not expect. Keshawn Griffin had a sack. Jordan Walker had a sack. I forget who had the other sack. Oh, Daryl Jabome had another big sack as well.
Keontae Hamilton, the one where he bullied the guard.
I think I texted in our group chat, what Keontae Hamilton did to that left guard is considered assault in about 20 states. I mean, he just did a pretty simple just move, get out of my way move, and just got right to the quarterback. But yeah, this defensive line really showed up. I thought the linebackers looked better as well. Daryl Jabome had 11 solo tackles, and I thought he looked pretty good in a lot of his spots. The defensive backs I thought played really well too. I thought Flip Dixon was a completely different player from the last few weeks as he got healthy over the bye week. He's been banged up for a lot of this year, I think. Robert Longerbeam had a good game. Bo Masco had a few huge pass breakups, particularly on third downs. So all three levels of this defense really showed up, and it showed, allowing only 19 points. It looked like it was going to be a little rough after that first drive. They still were dealing with a little bit of giving up big plays here and there, but for the most part, they really shut down this Minnesota offense. This is a Minnesota team that had been rolling coming into this game, winners of 4 straight. Rutgers obviously losing 4 straight. So it's a heck of a defensive performance. I thought the offense really looked good too. Ethan Kaliakmanis was dealing a lot for the first half at the very least against his former team. The second half, his execution was just a tad off. Really, the offensive execution as a whole in the second half was just a tad off. It was just like a little bit outside or a little bit inside or a little bit behind. So if he can shore some of those up, he'll be in much better shape. The receivers dropped a couple passes, but also made some really impressive catches. The deep ball to KJ Duff, I believe it was, up the middle. It was either Duff or Strong. I think it was Strong, on the 65-yarder. KJ Duff's deep ball was very impressive too, by the way, earlier on in the game. But Ian Strong in particular, it was a fingertip grab, heck of a catch by him. Demir Miller, despite the drops, he had a pretty good game in that first half as well. Huge props to Antoine Raymond as well. His first career start. He had 22 carries for 73 yards. And then, I thought he looked really good in pass protection as well. He had a few really big key blitz pickups. Ian Strong also had a really good block on a run that's helped spring free a big run as well. So obviously some things to kind of work on and fix before Maryland, because that's going to be a tough game on the road against a team that you in recent history haven't been very good against. But it felt really good, I'm sure, to get a win. And like you've been saying all along, losing can be contagious, but also winning can be contagious. So you start getting your confidence up. The execution was there for the defense. Maybe they can string something together here.
All right. So let's start from the very beginning here. Kyle Monangai being out, I feel like we all kind of like, oh, not looking too hot. But yeah, you said it before. Antoine Raymond did a really good job filling in. Jayshon Benjamin, first action, I think. Yeah, first action this year. And you kind of see why they do that a little bit and why you didn't see much action. I know Antoine Raymond's been solid. Clearly, he's not redshirting, but you could probably still get away with a Jayshon Benjamin redshirt. Actually, you 100% can, because the bowl game doesn't count towards the 4 games anymore. So he'll most likely get a red shirt, but he'll see a lot of time, I think, going forward. You saw him almost break a couple, and it's just like one more cut or one more broken tackle, and he's gone for 30 yards, 40 yards, whatever. Ethan Kaliakmanis against his former team, there's a little chip on his shoulder when walking into this one, and he was just phenomenal throughout that first half. First half, the second half, completely different player, but 14 of 20 for 216 and 2 touchdowns and an interception. The interception was a bad throw in the red zone, not even in the red zone, in the end zone. But other than that, 216 yards from a quarterback from a Rutgers quarterback. In the first half. When's the last time we've seen something like that? I know other things, like the announcers were talking most of the time, just saying how this is arguably the best they've ever seen Ethan Kaliakmanis. But second half, 3 of 13 for 24 yards. So they did adjust a little bit, and I think a little bit of that is starting to zero in on covering Dymere Miller. Dymere Miller, I don't think he had a catch in the second half after having 2 touchdowns and what was it? 2 touchdowns. Where's his yardage? I just had it. So.
For the game, he had 5 catches for 58 yards and those 2 touchdowns.
Yeah.
I'm not sure actually if he had any in the second half.
Yeah, no, I'm looking now. Not a single catch in the second half. 6 targets in the second half, which is impressive. That they just weren't able to find him and get him the ball. But Ian Strong stepped up, that big one. KJ Duff continues to be a really good weapon. Logan Blake showed a couple glimpses early on where I actually think he's bulked up a little bit and he could be a solid tight end going forward. Christian Dremel, I know he only had 1 catch, but proves once again like that it was kind of in traffic a little bit. Just a very reliable receiver overall. And pass game was great in the first half. Fell apart a little bit in the second half, but that defense, it's so much better when guys are actually healthy. I know Greg said that earlier in the week there's no magic dust for the bye week to just get these guys back in shape and back in full health. And I still don't think they're at full health, to be honest with you. But the first time I looked this up, the first time since October 12th that Longerbeam and Powell have not been on the availability report. The first time since September 27th that Eric Rogers wasn't on the availability report. That's huge to just get these guys 100%. And maybe, like I said, not 100%, but better than the 60, 70% they were at before. And you see it from head to toe. It's nice when a defense creates a pass rush. It's nice when the defense has linebackers making plays. And they still miss tackles here and there. There were still a couple miscues, like Bo Mascow on the one up the sideline. He had a very good game, but there was one on the sideline where it was an incomplete pass for Minnesota where the guy was wide open. I don't know if it was Daniel Jackson or someone else. And
I think it was I forget who it was. I don't remember if it was Daniel Jackson. I think it might have been where I'm trying to find out who it was. Sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off. I think it was Elijah Spencer. He got motioned out of the backfield and went into the slot, and Masco kind of had to follow him. And in my head, I was thinking, all right, they're probably going to send him here, and that's what happened. It was just a rough throw by Brosmer.
Yeah, Mascow got beat off the line, and then on top of that, Flip just wasn't able to get there quick enough. End of the day, still an incompletion, so who cares? But little stuff like that. Well, Mascow's young too, so I'm not really too worried. Tyreen Powell had a great game. I thought early on there were some struggles with him, and then you get that fumble, and of course, or the forced fumble, and it's just a completely different game for him overall. Solid game from him. New starter, Kaj Sanders over was it over? It was over Desmond, right? And then Desmond, I don't want to bag on him, but he comes in and then gets caught flat-footed and perfect touchdown for the running back, Taylor, right?
It was Marcus Major. That was who caught it.
Major, I want to say Taylor.
The backup running back.
Yeah, so, but left him wide open. So there were still some issues, but overall, a win's a win, and they outplayed this Minnesota team, who's, like you said, was kind of riding a high.
Yeah, and another thing I want to point out, the run defense after – especially late in the game. Looking at it by quarter, 6 carries for 52 yards. And then in the second quarter, 3 carries for -3 yards. The third quarter, 7 carries for 11 yards. Mm-hmm. And then in the fourth quarter, 3 carries for -25 yards. Now, a lot of that was due to the sack yardage as well, but you get the point. Darius Taylor, he looked like he was off to a good start in that first quarter. He had 10 carries for 28 yards and a touchdown for the entire game, including a long of 18. So after that, aside from an 18-yard rush, he had 9 carries for 10 yards. Extremely impressive. It just felt like the defensive line, particularly on the interior, they got that push. It looked like against some of the guards for Minnesota, just able to take him down at the line of scrimmage. There's so many 2nd and 9s, 2nd and 8s, things like that. I thought that the defensive line was probably the most improved unit today from the last few games to today.
And it's interesting to say that when you lose arguably your best pass rusher before the game even starts in Wesley Bailey. Now, I know people are panicking. I know people are freaking out. But if you do the math, Wesley Bailey has only played in 4 games. He's been injured for the rest of them. It's very, very possible. I feel like a medical red shirt could be coming. And to get him back for next season, along with Mohamed Toure, along with Brian Felter, it's going to help next season's team a lot. Of course, it's going to hurt this year's team because he's not healthy. But if you're not 100%, you really can't play. I mean, I guess you can. They've been playing guys that aren't 100%. But but I wouldn't be too worried about that. But Jordan Walker, man, stepped up big time. I thought Jordan Thompson stepped up really big. And those are 2 guys that are going to be main rotation pieces next year. I think Walker has another year. I know Thompson does.
Yeah, I mean, Walker, he had that huge sack in the end zone for the safety. I thought on that play, it was just a really good job of just driving past the right tackle and bringing down Brosmer. And for Brosmer, that's a situation where you can't go down. You have to find a way to get the ball out by any means necessary, even if you throw it away. I thought the defensive line played just a really good game, especially considering how bad they had been struggling coming into this game. Just the way that they were able to bounce back, very impressive. I'm assuming this is the safety from the
ultimate. Right here. Duh. No, I wasn't playing. No, of course it's not going to play. No. Oh, yeah, no, it is playing. I turned off the volume. That's why. But yeah, now you could just watch Jordan Walker right here. He gets right around that tackle, right around that edge. Now, Taylor, I think the running back probably should have picked it up a little bit. But yeah, if you're Brosmer, you just got to chuck it somewhere. I know right there. I mean, actually, just hit Taylor or throw it to Taylor. But Aaron Lewis was right there too. So I thought Aaron Lewis, despite having a little bit of an injury, a little dinged up over the past couple of weeks, he's bounced back a little bit too. To get him back to full health is huge. There's just been the defense overall is just so much better, obviously. And this is just stating the complete obvious. When they have a pass rush, everyone's better. When they have linebackers making tackles, everyone's better. When you have press coverage with your DBs at full health or near full health, everyone's better. Like Robert Longerbeam was playing press coverage a lot. And you saw him basically lock down half the field. And that's a game-changing thing right there. But I thought it was really impressive that this whole defense was able to shut down Darius Taylor, who's been a pain in the neck for opposing Big Ten defenses over this season and last season too.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, like I said, if you take away an 18-yard rush, he had 9 carries for 10 yards, which, I mean, obviously you can't do. If my bicycle had 3 wheels, it'd be a tricycle, But even then, averaging 2.8 yards per carry and a touchdown, very impressive, especially considering this is one of the Big Ten's best running backs. And Minnesota's been a bit of a factory of running backs of these recent years. You talk about Mo Ibrahim and now Darius Taylor. So yeah, it's a very impressive one. And I'm looking back at the stats. I see they did give, I'm not sure if this was, excuse me. I'm not sure if this was the play that I was thinking of, but Dino Kaliakmanis did get credited for 1 tackle. I'm not sure if that was the kick return that we were all thinking of, where the return man, I think it was Parrish, where he just kind of tripped over his own feet. I think the wind of Kaliakmanis running past him might have tripped him up, but he did get credited for a tackle. That was definitely a key turning point as well. Winning the field position battle was a huge turning point, obviously, in winning this game. Obviously, getting a safety, that's very indicative of that. But even though the offense wasn't really executing in the best of spots, they were still getting pretty good field position. And even when they were backed up in their own end zone, they still were managing to get away from it, basically. And obviously, Minnesota was not. Just a very impressive performance for this defense. And I've said it a bunch of times already, but like this unit was on the precipice of disaster, I'll say, coming into this game. And the fact that they stepped up without their leading pass rusher and still managed to do a lot. Like, even when they weren't taking down Brosmer in the first 3 quarters, I thought they were still doing a good job of at least getting to him and putting pressure on him.
Yeah, no, I'm really impressed by how the defense, it almost flipped, because that first 2 drives, they were giving up play after play. They were letting Brosmer run all over them. they gave up a touchdown to start the game in the first drive for Minnesota, and then they gave up a field goal after that. And I was like, oh, geez, dude, 10 points in 2 drives already. Like, this is not looking good. But yeah, no, they bounced back really big time. I credit Joe Harris-Simiak a lot too for just changing up some schemes, changing up a little bit of everything, putting defensive linemen out there and just switching. There's just so many different guys in that rotation. And we've heard it time and time again for Greg saying that they're 10 plus deep at the defensive line position, but we really haven't seen it. This is the first game this season I think we've actually seen these guys show that they have depth at those positions. Jordan Walker's making plays. Keyshawn Griffin's making plays. Troy Rainey's out there just not making a ton of plays, but causing a little bit of havoc, getting double teamed, and then someone else makes some play. Keontae Hamilton had a really good game. Now, there's still some guys that are struggling. Like, we didn't see much of Malcolm Ray. I saw him get pushed around a little bit once again. Maybe you have to make a couple changes here or there, but it does show that they do have some depth, and that bye week has helped tremendously. I know it's not the magic dust, Greg said, but I do think it helped not only get guys healthy, but it also helped some of the younger guys start to understand the game more and process it quicker, whether it be Daryl Jabome, who led the team in tackles today, whether it be Bo Mascow, who, like you said before, did pretty good. Kaj Sanders is a true freshman in game number 9. Was that 9? I think 8, 9. Yeah. So just to get some more reps for these guys, especially during that bye week, helped a ton. And you see it on the field now. Offensively, I thought Athan was great. To start, like we said before, Antoine Raymond was solid. Jayshon Benjamin was solid. Offensive line, I'm a little concerned about now because Tyler Needham goes down, and we don't know how serious it is. If he could have back in, but him having to get 2 people to help him off the field is never a good sign. Abram Wright also got hurt on a non-contact on the celebration. Was it Jordan Walker celebration, right? Yeah.
Yeah, it was after the safety.
Yeah, so and Abram Wright was starting to make some noise too. He's starting to play more and more. So that's definitely concerning, especially for an offensive line that's already missing their left guard. I thought Holland Pierce actually didn't do as well. He had his moments where he did well, but he also had some struggles. He gave up the 1 sack for sure.
He got beat on that sack too.
Yeah. Anything else I'm really missing? Wide receiver room was pretty solid. Dymere Miller. Yeah, Dymere Miller we talked about, but then went quiet. Ian Strong had a big game. KJ Duff had a solid game. After that, though, there really wasn't much else. Chris Long has been completely gone.
Yeah, I think because also we didn't really see a lot of Ben Black today either. It was mostly those sets of Strong, Miller, and then kind of rotating Dremel in there, and also Duff. It was mostly just those 4 guys. We did not see a lot of Ben Black either. I didn't even realize that until now. I'm thinking through the wide receivers, and we didn't see Ben Black at all.
No. Now, concerning question mark, maybe, because he's burned his red shirt already. So, and he's been a guy that they've raved about. The speed factor, he's arguably the fastest guy in this team. So, not seeing him might be a little bit concerning. We know Greg doesn't announce injuries unless they're season ending. So, I know Greg's. Has he spoken yet? I don't think he has.
I hope, for Craig's sake, I hope so.
I know as of 10 minutes ago, Craig was texting me saying he has not spoken yet.
Oh, jeez. Well, yeah. Black did play. He did get a tackle recorded, I'm assuming, on a kickoff or a punt. So he did play. I guess I don't really know why we didn't really see him on the field.
Yeah, very weird. But
also,
I guess they wanted to abuse that height factor with KJ Duff and Ian Strong on the outside. I don't know what Minnesota's DBs are like. Are they tiny? I got to double check.
I mean, it worked too because they drew more than 1 pass interference. I think they drew 2 or 3 pass interferences as well. Mm-hmm. Also, kind of unrelated, I want to shout out that one guy on the Ask the Experts last week who was asking when Ben Rosenblatt was going to play. I'm not too confident that's going to happen because Logan Blake has been switched to number 85, which is also Rosenblatt's number. So,
true.
Unfortunately for that one guy, I forget your name, but it doesn't look like it's going to happen.
Yeah, no, it's funny because it always appears in the PFF grades every week, and I'm like, no, that's not Ben Rosenblatt. Someone's got to fix the roster there. But
also the every single kickoff, number 8 is now number 98 every single time without fail.
It's at the point where you should probably just change a number, maybe. Make it
I would like that. Yeah.
Other things. Let's see. Oh, we actually have a couple messages in this chat too. Big Ten defense showed up. Let's run the table. I don't know if they're going to run the table per se, but I think that they have a damn good shot at getting a bowl game again. And that's where the Duke's Mayo Bowl, baby, is coming into play. I don't have Dukes. I didn't know. This is
do they sell Dukes up here?
That's a good question.
Is it just a South thing?
I would think maybe more south type of thing, but
Because
that's the goal.
yeah,
I mean,
they do have that one brand. I forget which one it is. The ones they have at Jersey Mike's and SHI. It's not
Hellman's.
Hellman's. It's like Mike's or something.
Oh, I have no idea.
Yeah.
But yeah, if it's not the Duke's Mayo Bowl, probably I know we're speculating way too far ahead because they still need one more win, but I'd say probably Detroit. I know no one wants to hear that. It's kind of gross. Maybe outside chance if you win a couple games, Nashville. And as most of you know, I was just there, so I scouted it out. I know where to go, what to do. Trust me, I got you. Other things,
question mark?
Possible. I know people don't think that's possible, but apparently, according to the rules, it is possible. They need to have at least 6 different teams over 8 years. Right now, they have 4 in 4 years. So technically, Rutgers can go back to the Pinstripe Bowl. That I'd honestly prefer that over Detroit, but besides the point.
Too. Mostly because it's better to get to, and also it's not the day after Christmas.
Yeah. So here's a good one. Which is the 3 games remaining? Does Rutgers now have the best shot to win and become bowl eligible?
I say Maryland. I know Rutgers has really struggled against Maryland, but they don't have Talia Tagovailoa. They really have not played well at all in recent weeks. They're playing Oregon today. They're probably going to get destroyed by the number 1 team in the country, and they'll probably be coming in on a low. So I think Maryland's the best chance to win. Second, I would probably say Michigan State, which is funny to say. You put the home game last, but it just feels like the style of play for both of those games, it feels like it might favor Rutgers. I think if you can find if you can find Michigan State in some of their turnover prone mood, they got a shot there. I just think Illinois is Rutgers, but a lot better. Kind of like what we thought Minnesota would be, but I think Illinois, especially in the trenches, is like Rutgers, but like there's some reference I'm trying to like think of, but like Rutgers and then like Rutgers 2.0 basically.
Yeah. It's like that Spider-Man meme, but like one's a little bit better, I guess.
Yeah.
That's a tough one. I keep looking back and forth to this because like Michigan State, depending on it's really dependent on what they do over these next 2 games. Because you lose these next 2 games, I can almost promise you they're probably gonna lose to Michigan State. I just feel like that's just a tumble effect and you're beat down, you're hurt already. It's just like, just get me out of this season. Now,
it's November 30th in East Lansing. There's no way it's going to be anything above like 30 degrees, maybe even snowing.
Yeah. It is a first-year head coach, though, and I would like to think that Greg could outcoach Jonathan Smith, even though I do think he's a good coach. It's just a first-year, new program. I know he's brought over some guys. Aiden Choi's is pretty good. I think, I'd probably say Maryland. I keep looking back at this Maryland game. Next week, 6 p.m., gross, disgusting. Was it on Peacock?
I don't remember, to be honest with you. But yeah, that's not a big fan of that start time as someone who was going to the game and trying to make it all in a day.
You also need Kyle Monangai back, no matter what. Like, you need him back if you want to win this one. Based on the fact that he was walking around the sidelines pretty fine, it looks like he was okay. I'm going to assume, and this is just an assumption, so don't take it as gospel, that he's probably in concussion protocol, which usually takes 2 weeks. So by a week, obviously, is 1. This would be 2. You hope he gets cleared early midway through this week. You won't really know till Saturday. We can't say what we see in practice, so we can't even tell you. But yeah, I like to think that he'd probably be back. I don't think he'd even be out there. I guess with concussions, you can still be out there with the team, right? There's really no. I've never had one personally, knock on wood. So.
You've had a lot of other things, but thankfully
yeah, over 100 stitches, broken arm. We're good. But yeah, I don't know. I think it's probably concussion protocol if I had to guess. You need him back though, and that's going to be a big key to them winning maybe 1, maybe 2 more games.
I think it's possible. I mean, they have an ability to win all 3 of these games. I don't think they'll do it. But all 3 of them are winnable games, especially now that we've seen what this team can do with a week off. I don't know if it'll continue in the same way, but there's certainly a benchmark that you can go off of where maybe they get a bit of a catapult effect after this bye.
Yeah, no, very possible. What else do we got on here? Christian Dremel finally returns one. I get the reason behind it now. Like you dig more into it and dig deep into everything. We've seen so many teams. Well, I've seen. I watch college football like it's a religion basically. But after just watching all these other teams, it's just so noticeable that like they'll take it to the 18-yard line after returning it from the end zone. And it's like, yeah, he could have broke for like 50, 60 yards, but he didn't. And time again, you see these guys, even when they do take it for those 40, 50 yards, there's a penalty and a block in the back or something, or there's a hold on the return team. And it's like, okay, all the way back to the 10-yard line or 5-yard line or whatever. So it does make sense, especially when you don't have a dynamic return man. Now that's the question mark. Because I think Ben Black could be that guy, but we've seen him also drop a couple of balls this year. So it's scary. You're probably just better off just taking the 25 yards. You're already a quarter of the way down the field at that point. So you get 25 more yards, you're closing in on field goal range. You get 40 more yards, you're closing in on almost a chip shot field goal. You get more than that, you're closing in on a touchdown. You would think. Not always a guarantee, but yeah, I understand it. I get it. There's not really much else, I guess, to say there.
That was his 5th punt return of the season. I know people were saying, like, is that the only one he's returned all year? He's had one in 4 other games coming into today. The 13-yard return was his 3rd longest of the year, from what I could find. And I just found it really funny that was the spot that they decided to return it, where it's like ultra conservative, hold the ball no matter what, and this is the one that they decided to return. It wasn't even like he had that much of an open lane. Like the Gunners were kind of close, to be honest with you, closer than they are on some of these other fair catches. But it's a good decision by Dremel, and I guess by Greg as well for giving him the instruction that he can return it as well. Rutgers got close in a couple blocks too. Yeah, they were really close on some of them, and they just could never really get home. So maybe that's something that could be a harbinger for the future as well. The fact that they're kind of rounding back into the form in that regard as well. I don't know. Like, special teams can be so random at times, so you never know. But it was a good sign. Yeah,
putting KJ Duff out there for the safety return was interesting. I feel like you might have caught someone off guard, maybe they saw something, but they still fair caught it. And I'm like, just. You got like fair catches on safety makes no sense to me, because I feel like you can gain at least 5 to 10 real quick.
I don't really hate that one, because it was like an awkward. I think Duff kind of like ran in front of Dremel. It felt like to grab that one. He was kind of in an awkward position. He was kind of backtracking, but yeah, I would have liked to see a return on that one. Like you said, particularly for safety returns when it's basically a kickoff, but like in punt form.
Yeah. Also, fun fact, last year, I know this isn't this year, last year, Rutgers led the NCAA in kick return average. 5 kick returns, 183 yards with Rashad Rochelle. So, I mean, hey, technically you want to complain about it, but in reality, they were number 1 in the country last year doing it. So,
I mean, he did have that, what was it, a 95-yard return against Wagner too?
Yeah, 88. Yeah.
Yeah, 88, yeah.
So that helps skew the numbers quite a bit when there's only 5 of them. But all you need is 5 to be eligible for the most returns. So NCAA, I don't know if it was a record, but NCAA leader last year in kick return yards.
Was it exactly 5?
Yeah, exactly 5. 5 on the dot. They had one against Maryland to end the season, and there you go.
I wonder if that was if that was intentional or it just happened to be a funny coincidence.
Yeah, that's funny though. Other than that, what else we got in here? I wouldn't go this far. We're just curious where all these clowns who were dead ass certain that we were going to lose all the remaining games. Let's be honest. These guys are banged up. They're really banged up, and they're even more banged up after today, because you saw other guys go down between your starting right tackle, between one of your backup linebackers. So now your linebacker room's even thinner. So now you're going towards preferred walk-ons at defensive end, who did pretty good in Jordan Walker. Preferred walk-ons at linebacker, who I think Timmy Hinz-Peters solid, but it's tough. It is tough to, and it's not an excuse. I can't really say it's 100% the excuse, but it's definitely part of the reason for the struggles. They have no depth, and their depth's being depleted now on top of it. So the little depth they did have is now being hurt. So Aaron Lewis is out there. He's not fully healthy. We've seen Tyreen Powell and Robert Longerbeam on the availability report every single week as questionable. Kyle Monangai, your one of the top rushers in the country, was out today. He got hurt last week. You have a true freshman at running back starting. You have a true freshman at safety starting. It's a struggle. So I mean, I don't think we were either dead certain as well, but we definitely I don't even say we should eat crow because like this Minnesota team's meh. Like I don't think we thought they were going to lose out. I think we said 1 to 2 more, and that's kind of where it's on track still for 1 to 2 more games. Well, they got the one, so one more.
To be fair, I don't think we are the clowns that Bobby's referring to.
Right,
I didn't think they were going to lose that. I thought they would find a way to win 1, and maybe 1 could turn into 2. We'll see.
Yeah, I definitely thought 1. I didn't think it would be this one, to be honest with you. So that's a little pleasant surprise. But yeah, we'll wait and see what happens. But that Illinois team's pesky. That Maryland team, I don't understand. There's like one game where they look really good, and there's one game it's like, how is Mike Locksley still a head coach? So I don't really know. And then Michigan State's a question mark too. New coach, new roster, basically. So yeah, moving on. What else we got in here? Benjamin runs similar style to Kyle running back you. I think he's just short and stocky, and that's kind of that short, stocky style. As long as Sam Brown's the unique one because he runs so upright, but still able to break tackles. Antoine Raymond's a little bit bigger than both Kyle and Benjamin, so he runs a different style as well. Yeah, I don't think that's anything crazy.
I do find it really funny that they all kind of run the same way, high and tight with the ball. Like, that's like a taught thing that they emphasize. Great way to hold on to the ball, obviously. And they picked it up immediately. I thought Raymond did have some really good cutbacks today, kind of similar to that. I feel like the Rutgers rushing offense is kind of similar to how I run my offense at College Football 25, a lot of wide zone cutbacks towards the middle. And I thought they picked it up pretty well. Benjamin in particular just was bouncing off tacklers on that last drive. That was huge on that last drive to get the field goal from Jay Patel. Just the way that he was able to get those extra yards, and he just kind of burst out of nowhere as well. And he got 38 yards on those 2 runs alone.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. No, did pretty good. So I think, like I said before, you're going to see a lot more Benjamin going forward. Antoine Raymond, you're going to continue to see. He's kind of taken over that RB2 spot. Little note, something interesting to note. They did offer another 2025 running back recently in Wake Forest commit Terrell Mitchell, who plays at Somerville High School. I'm told he's going to visit campus. I don't think he was on campus today. I got to double check on that. But he plans to visit campus. I wouldn't be surprised if they flipped him. I think the fact that they're taking 2 running backs is a little bit of a sign towards Sam Brown's future. I think there's some question marks there because he's been hurt a ton. It's hard to count on a guy next year as your starting running back if he's been hurt a ton. I think Antoine Raymond's probably the guy going forward. I think Benjamin sprinkles in. We'll just kind of wait and see. I don't think you'll see the two true freshmen. I think if you see one, it's going to be Ed Greer. But yeah, I mean, it's the whole running back room basically.
I also just want to say Somerville is a dominant team in Central Jersey. They got a few different Power 5 guys in particular. So yeah, very strong program that they got there.
Jaden Lofton, I think he's Tennessee commit, if I recall.
I think so, yeah.
They have a quarterback too, don't they?
I think, yeah.
I forget. They have a couple dudes though. Miller's drops. Yeah, it's tough because he's clearly your best receiver. You could see it. But he has his moments where he has butterfingers as well. I think there's times where Ethan's also throwing in a non-catchable. I shouldn't say non-catchable because it's like this close to being a catchable ball, but in reality, it's a little out of reach. It's just a combination of things. I mean, 13. What do you have? 13 targets today?
Yeah, 13. It seemed like, honestly, in a couple, the 2 main drops on third downs, really, it seemed like he just kind of lost focus. Now, obviously, I haven't played wide receiver. I'm not a wide receiver. I'm not in his head, but it just seemed like he kind of lost focus, didn't actually catch the ball before, looking to go upfield, that kind of thing. So, yeah, there was also a lot of that, like you said. Like, it was just like, it's not like you're throwing the ball out of bounds, but it's like just barely out of the reach of your wide receiver where you can think like he dropped it, but also got to put a better ball on it. Yeah, there's a lot of those today.
Yeah, I'm curious how PFF is going to rank those. Is it drops? Is it on Cal McManus? Is it on Dymere Miller? Ian Strong had a couple. I guess everyone really had a couple of drops now I look at it. But yeah, it is what it is. 52% completion percentage, not great, but again, 216 of those 240 yards came in the first half. They just went cold turkey in the second half, basically. Let's see what else we got. That interception from Flip would have been really cool to see. He wants that one back. Yeah, I thought Flip had a pretty solid game. Nothing crazy. I thought he just played solid overall. When you don't have to talk about a DB, it's always good.
Right. Yeah, I thought he played a good game too. It was kind of clear throughout the season he's been at least a little banged up a couple different times. So to see him as close to, I guess, 100% as he'll be for the rest of the season was really good to see. Just the way that he was able to range in coverage and run the field was very nice to see.
Mm-hmm. This I don't think this is really a football question, but BTN Plus still selling individual subscriptions. I had one before and canceled it because they only showed Olympic sports. No, they still sell the individual. They sell that's how we do our rewatches and how we do our Monday pods. Go rewatch the game on BTN Plus. I don't know what it's cost. I think it's like $14-15, something like that. Plus, I think the not Wagner. They just played Wagner. What's Monday's game?
St. Peter's.
I think that's on BTN Plus, right?
It is, yeah. Only game of the season on Big Ten Plus.
Yes, but there's also 6 on Peacock. Yeah.
Great. Yeah.
It's actually worth it when you see The Office is on there. It's like, okay, it's fine. I can get through it. Let's see. Jabome struggled for that 4-game losing streak, but he seems to be reading that's what I said before. That whole bye week just gives you so much more preparation, so much more film study. For the most part, and I'm not going to say this as gospel, but I think if you look back, for the most part, when Greg Schiano has a couple weeks to prep for a team, he's able to get his guys ready, whether it be a bowl game, whether it be a bye week, just having that week off. It just helps them get more prepared, helps them kind of learn more, helps them read the defense better. That was one of his major issues. He was just filling the wrong gaps. He fills the right gaps in those 4-game losing streaks. I guarantee it's not a 4-game losing streak. And it's not just him, it's Moses Walker too, who I don't think we saw a whole lot of now I think about it.
No, I don't think so. I'm looking through the stat sheet. I don't think he recorded a tackle or anything like that. I guess we'll have to wait. Yeah, we'll have to wait for PFF to actually read the snap counts, but I don't think he recorded a tackle or anything, but I don't remember him being on the field really all that often.
Yeah, I forgot about that. I didn't even think about that one. Not a lot of rotating, which was nice. I mean, defensive line definitely rotated some guys in, but the linebackers were, for the most part, the same. Secondary was mostly the same. Rogers, Mascow, Igbinosin, and you didn't really see him after that. What else we got on here? Bailey and Toure next year. Yeah, that's probably, it's more likely going to happen. I'm intrigued to see how Mohamed Toure is used next season. Are you confident enough in your linebacker room to bump him back down to defensive end? Is he going to pack on weight because I guess, what was it, a leg issue this year? I forget. ACL. So I know from experience, and this is different because these guys are working out 24/7, but from my experience, I packed on like 10-15 pounds when I tore my ACL, and then I tore another one, and it's like, oh, here we go. I feel like Santa Claus. But hey, I wouldn't be shocked to see him used more as a defensive end next season. With Bailey on the other side, I think that could be a nasty 1-2 punch at edge rushers.
Yeah, I'm really interested to see how that goes too. Obviously, you talk about the linebacker, but also at the defensive end spot. Like, is there anyone that's going to break out in between the end of this season and next season that could potentially take that spot instead of Toure? I guess we'll have to wait and see. I would love to keep him in the role that he was in last year and was projected to be at this year, as that, like, he'll blitz, you'll put him in as like a sub defensive end, but also you can put him out in coverage. He had that, I know this was last year, he had that really nice interception on Kyle McCord where he just kind of, McCord just didn't really see him. He kind of snuck under the underneath route and just swiped it away. So I would like to see him continue in that role, but we'll see if someone can break through on the defensive line, because is Aaron Lewis out of eligibility? I believe so. Right?
Yeah, he'll be done.
So there will be definitely be a hole there to fill.
100%. Let's see what else we got. Ref missed a defensive back hold on interception end zone.
Yeah, I think it was pretty obvious that Duff got held. I don't remember if the pass was in the air or if it was before the pass, but either way,
it was right before it. Technically,
it should have been. Yeah, should have been either a hold or pass interference. That was pretty obvious. But at the same time, if you're eighth and you got to kind of I get it's a comeback route, so you got to put it on the front pylon. But he's rolling to his left, kind of working off platform. I feel like you got to put that one more towards the sideline. or towards the back end of the end zone, I should say, so that the defensive back can't really make a play on it. But yeah, that's just one of those plays where I don't. It didn't kill him, obviously, but obviously don't want to see red zone turnovers. And unfortunately, my Seattle Seahawks, I've seen plenty of those lately.
There you go. I'm trying to see if I can find that video of the interception. I don't see it anywhere, actually. Yeah, either way, that one. And then what was it? There was a drive. Was it the first drive of the game where there was a non-pass interference call that should have been called?
I felt like there was a couple. Like Minnesota's defensive backs were playing very physical. And I think that's why both KJ Duff and Ian Strong got so much playing time together. And Kirk Shiraka was calling some of these deep balls and Ethan was finding them because they felt like they had an advantage and were able to draw some penalties as well.
It was the 4th and 2. I found it.
That's what it was. Yeah, I was still walking up the stairs because I was on the field for the intro. I missed getting a video of the flyover because I didn't know which end of the field it was coming over. I wanted to get a video of it, but it was a cool flyover. But yeah, I thought that was. I was watching from walking up the stairs. I thought that was a clear pass interference, especially when they showed the replay on the big screen too.
Yeah, this was pretty bad and pretty blatant. I feel like it's up here, just so everyone knows. The throwing on the run, man, drives me nuts. But like, yeah, it looks like I think I got the whole clip. Did I not? No, I didn't. Of course.
Like the defensive back kind of brings his arm down, and he also doesn't turn around for the ball either. That should have been a pretty obvious pass interference.
I mean, yeah, he's all over him, but that's crazy. So yeah, there's definitely some calls that should have been called, but that's just college football. You're never going to get a perfect ref, I feel like. Did Ethan and PJ talk after the game? I don't know, actually. I don't think at the end of the day there's any bad blood. I also don't think PJ, I'll be honest, cares that much. Like, as much as Max Brosmer was bad today, he's won them some games he shouldn't have, or they shouldn't have won. They beat Illinois last week. Last week. They beat Maryland. They beat UCLA. They beat USC. They beat Nevada, Rhode Island. Who cares? But he's also kept them competitive against Michigan, who they lost by 3, and they probably should have won that game. Going back to that. So I mean, he's been very solid. 68% completion percentage. That's what they wanted. So I don't really think PJ cares all that much.
Yeah,
I think both teams got better at quarterback. At the end of the day, I think Rutgers got a better quarterback than they had last year. I think Minnesota got a better quarterback than they had last year. Simple as that. 13 touchdowns, 4 interceptions, pretty good.
Yeah, and I don't think it was like we don't like Ethan. We think he's like a bad teammate or whatever. It's just a business decision where they felt like they wanted to upgrade a quarterback, so they did. And then Rutgers went out and Kirk Shiraka said, "Hey, want to get back to my offense and that." And so he decided to, yeah. And I mean, yeah, at the end of the day, that's just how the business works. And I did see Greg Schiano, PJ Fleck, in the handshake, they had a little hug. I'm sure they said some nice words to each other. The fact that, I know we talk about it a lot, but the fact that these two programs have switched coordinators, quarterbacks, defensive tackles, safeties, it's crazy. Unreal.
Yeah.
I think it just shows like the respect that the two have for each other, especially since he was a staffer at Rutgers under Greg Schiano in his 1.0, that they're willing to take chances on a lot of their own guys as well.
Yeah. NFL too for that one season. Definitely interesting. What else was there? Let's see. Ja'Shawn Benjamin, some great blitz pickups was a key. I thought Antoine Raymond on blitz pickups was huge. For a true freshman, I've never seen anything like it. Now maybe you can credit Demir Shaw for teaching these guys. You can credit Kyle Monungai for kind of teaching some of the younger guys, but Kyle's always been very good at blitz pickups. I think it just kind of rubbed off on the entire room. But again, credit to Demir Shaw, because this man is earning his pay and then some, because this running back room is you were missing arguably one of the best in the Big Ten, if not the best in the Big Ten today. And I couldn't even tell you that they missed a beat really. Now, could Kyle probably go out there and probably go for 100 plus? Yeah, he probably could have, but for a true freshman to do what he did, for Ja'Shawn Benjamin, who hasn't played at all this year, to do what he did, I was very impressed by that unit overall. I'm impressed by the way he's been able to develop the running back room, and you better pay that man, because he's going to have some suitors after him, 100%.
Yeah, I thought it was like the one in particular that sticks out in my mind. It was a third down. Minnesota sends a blitz. I think it was the third down completion of Strong on the sideline, where it was like an intermediate, like third and 4, I believe it was, found him for 5 yards, where they send a blitz. The linebacker comes up. He just stuffs the linebacker, and Nathan's able to kind of roll out as well. That's the other thing, where when you engage with these guys, you give your quarterback a little bit of room to roll out as well, and give him some more room to work with, and he found Strong on the sideline for a key third down pickup.
Was it this one?
I guess we'll see. That was not the one I was thinking of, but that was just as impressive, if not more impressive than the one I was thinking of.
This is the one I was so impressed with. I mean, I clipped it obviously and posted it, but I was just super impressed by that. Like, for a true freshman he reads the one interiors and he looks and then just reads that outside outside corner that's coming around for a blitz, and
it looked like he was going to pick up the stun on the inside, but then he runs over and picks up the DB. And I mean, when the DB is running full speed at you, it's very easy to get trucked over like that. But stonewalled him.
Got to hold your ground, And he definitely fell back a little bit, but he definitely felt that one, I should say. But
I'm sure.
I thought overall the offensive line was good too. I was very impressed by Taj White. To be honest with you, I kept watching different clips, and he's just making the right read, whether it be like double team the center, or I'm sorry, double team the interior guy for a second, and pull back and then go after the edge rusher and help Holland out a little bit. I thought he just did really well today for a guy that's been struggling mightily. I'm not saying he was the best lineman in the world, but I thought for what he's been the past couple of weeks, this was a huge upgrade.
Yeah, I think he gave up, 8 pressures, I think, against USC alone.
Yeah.
So it was definitely an upgrade. I mean, I didn't notice him all that much. And again, like you said about the DB, that's kind of the best thing you can say about an offensive lineman when you don't notice him that much.
Yeah, exactly. Same thing as like what we said before with secondary. But I feel like we kind of talked about this already. 4 sacks is a refreshing sight. Yeah, I mean, they showed the stat last in the Big Ten. I think they're like 118th in the nation or 112th in the nation in sacks. So it's been a struggle. It hasn't been pretty for the defensive line. But 4 sacks is good. It's a good day.
Yeah. Also 8 tackles for loss, when it felt like they had so many games where they had 0. They had 8 today. Very impressive. 3 from Jabome alone. 1 from Walker and Griffin, each on their sacks. I believe that's when it was. Jordan Thompson had 1 as well. Keontae Hamilton on his sack. And then Troy Rainey and Desmond Igbenusum were both credited with half a tackle for loss. So very impressive.
Yeah, good day overall. A lot of basketball talking here towards the end. Has Dylan been practicing free throws? Stop. Dylan's fine. Dylan's okay.
Yeah, that just seemed like an outlier to me, because I looked back in some of his stats. He was shooting over, I think it was 90% at Bosco for his last 2 years. So he'll be fine.
It's the first game. Relax. It's Wagner. Who cares? Whatever. It is what it is. But what else we got in here? Here, this is a little chip towards you. Yeah, there you go. Women's basketball, nice W over Cornell. Women's soccer tomorrow. Don't forget.
Yes, I think that's at what, noon? I forget. So I think in the stadium they said noon, but I felt like it was at 3. But yeah, I mean, I watched that second half. They basically played the entire second half a man down, and USC was constantly in Rutgers zone. And the defense, Olivia Bodmer in goal, played a heck of a second half. And the PK shootout was just the icing on the cake for Bodmer. I mean, she was unbelievable. She saved the first 3 of the PK shootout.
1 p.m. And they have a damn good shot of winning it too. This is a UCLA team that's number 9 in the Big Ten. So they have a pretty good shot. That's what it says.
I think UCLA is the 2 seed in the Big Ten.
All right, then maybe that's number 9 overall.
Yeah, it might be, which makes it a little bit.
That would make a lot more sense.
Yeah. But then for women's basketball, nice win over Cornell. They're back in action tomorrow against NJIT, 2 p.m. tip-off. I'll be there for that, of course, as I always am. It was a little concerning going into that fourth quarter. They were down by 5. Cornell, I think they went 7-19 last year. They have a first-year head coach. Emily Pape played a great game. She had 28 points. Or 27 points, which I found pretty funny when I was kind of trying to do some research on like her stats and stuff. Her career high is 27 points in 38 minutes, which she did on Thursday. But then she also did that last year and the year before as her season high. So that's pretty funny. But yeah, fourth quarter, definitely a lot to be encouraged by. Destiny Adams, perfect 6 of 6 from the floor, 6 rebounds, 14 points in that fourth quarter alone. I know this is our football show, so I'll
Yeah,
cut it short
it's all
there.
good.
But back in action tomorrow.
I want to bring this up because I noticed a lot of Minnesota fans on social media are claiming that this is not a fumble and they should have reviewed it more and blah, blah, blah. I'm like, I thought this was a pretty clear fumble here. FYI, it's a tiring foul play. But what are we talking about here? Like, that is, are you going to say incompletion maybe?
I mean, he gets the catch.
1, 2.
Pulls it in, turns around, and then gets hit. It's close. I was surprised.
I thought, actually.
Yeah, I'm surprised they didn't take I was surprised when it happened that they didn't take a longer look at it. But the fact that he brought it in and then took a step forward and then how it hit him.
1, 2. Like, it looks like it's securely in his hands, and then
and then I think he makes a football move too. Yeah. I understand why they wanted a closer look at it. I'm surprised they didn't take longer. But I think that's still a fumble.
Who was this? This was Loyal?
Yeah, it was Loyal that fell on it.
That's, absolutely huge because that tight end almost had it again, too.
He did, yeah.
Wow, yeah, very impressive. Looking back. Oh, another angle. Should have looked at this from the beginning.
I think that's a catch, no fumble. It's so funny saying the words football move because, like, what is a football move? But I think that's a fumble.
I just noticed this. Does the Minnesota ball have yellow laces?
Maybe. I think I noticed this during the game. I was like, it looks a little weird.
It does.
It looks different than usual. I didn't know. Yeah, I didn't notice it was the laces.
Yeah, that's gross. I don't want to see red laces when they go back to Nike. So just FYI, it's gonna happen. Other stuff in here. What do we got? We got to be honest about the talent on this team, regardless of injuries. These guys are good. Some are really good. One elite player. That's it. I forgot to click this up. Rutgers has to spend the bag on portal athletes. Yes, they have to spend the bag, but in order to spend the bag, you need the bag. So, got to donate. If you want your team to be better, you got to donate. Simple as that. You have $1 million lying around. I can guarantee you they will take that and find the best goddamn edge rusher, best goddamn left tackle to replace Holland Pierce next year that they can.
Oh, did someone say? Oh, I think I have some. Might have a couple million over my drawer over there.
No, yeah, it's just. I mean, hey, all it takes is one lottery ticket, and there you go. Last thing on here, I see Seton Hall lost to Fordham in a bye game in Walsh Gym too. Oh,
that's God, me brutality territory.
Yeah, that's a bad one. Thoughts on Maryland? Here's our last one. If you guys have any other questions, submit them now because we're starting to wrap up. It's almost been an hour or two, so kind of tired. Thoughts on Maryland? I think we kind of discussed it already, but do we want Oregon to blow them out tonight? I don't think it matters really what happens. I think Oregon will kick the shit out of them, to be honest with you.
It's going to happen anyways, I think.
Yeah, I don't think it matters either way. I mean, you don't want them to win, but it is like
Maryland's a weird team.
Yeah,
you never know what to. Well, unless it's October, then you know they're going to struggle under Loxley because they have done that for like 5 years running now. Yeah, I really think this could be it for him if they don't turn it around quickly.
There's a couple more in here actually. People have to stop just thinking the worst situation is going to happen ever. They were able to retain as a bunch of guys this offseason. A lot of those guys are graduating now. I expect them to retain a lot of these guys again. Bo Mascow, like I said before, had some ups, had some really high ups actually today. Couple down moments, but yes, he's going to be a very good corner. Yes, he's also lined up to be cornerback 1 next season, so I don't think he's going anywhere.
If you're leaving being a defensive back under Greg Schiano with a chance to be a cornerback 1, then can't really help you.
Yeah, you have problems of your own at that point. But no, I'm pretty confident he's going to stay. What was this one? Let's see. I know it's obviously something that may change by the end of the season, but how many guys do you think will transfer? I think for the most part, they're going to keep the guys that are productive and good players. I don't think you're going to lose any. I think when it comes to lower down the depth chart, I think you definitely lose some guys. I think there's a lot of linemen on the roster currently, and I could see them I don't want to say trimming some fat, but I just said it, so it doesn't matter now, I guess. But it's essentially trimming some fat. Like there's just guys on the roster that aren't going to be productive players at this level. They're probably not even Power 5, G5 level. So it's just the way it works. I think wide receiver room is probably something I would keep an eye on too. Just because now you have not true freshmen. You have Ian Strong and KJ Duff who are becoming mainstays. You have Benjamin Black who's becoming a mainstay in that lineup. It's going to be hard to unseat those guys. Tight end room, Kenny Fletcher's back. Victor Konopka's gone. Logan Blake back. They brought in 2 tight ends. There's always going to be at least one surprise, I think. I just don't know where I would say that surprise is right now. I don't think there is one, to be honest.
Yeah, it's going to be tough. I mean, there's some of the young guys in the 2023 class that we haven't seen a ton of. Like maybe a Dylan Braithwaite comes to mind. We haven't seen a ton of him.
Mm-hmm.
You never know. Yeah, you never
know. Any chance we bust out no, I hope not. Bust out the NJ Rutgers throwback helmets and uniforms for the 90s. Oh God, it's late. No.
It's 5:50 in the evening.
I had a long week, okay? Leave me alone.
Yeah.
No, I don't think they do it. They're not going to take out those uniforms. I think the only surprise you might see, and I don't even know if this is going to happen. I was told that those gray uniforms they had for the spring game are strictly for special teams players. But I can't see them just making 4 uniforms just for the special teams unit. I feel like that's bizarre. So I wouldn't be shocked if they had a gray uniform for every player on the team. And I just think they're meh. Like, what are we doing here?
I think the icy whites look better anyways.
Yeah, 100%. And I actually thought the black helmet, white jersey, white pants combo actually looked really sharp against USC. I'm a fan of changing it up. I thought I didn't even mention it. Today's uniform, beautiful. I love it. I love the block R when you do it for Military Appreciation Day. Like I think that's a good once a year thing. I probably want to do the white helmet, red jersey, and white pants again, unless it's for Military Appreciation Day, because I just don't like that combo personally. But the all red's cool, the all white's cool, the black is cool, the all black uniform's cool. I think it's more fun to mix it up and mix and match, especially when I get it. You want to be traditional and everything, but I mean, there's not a ton of tradition either, if we're being honest. Like, not good tradition.
I think they go block R for the rest of eternity. Honestly, if I had to guess.
Oh yeah, 100%. You'll never see that Knight logo near football again. I can promise you that one.
Yeah. As cool as that NJ Rutgers logo is from the 90s.
Oh, that I forgot about that one.
Yeah, too. I don't think we'll see it.
No, probably not. But who knows? What else we got here? Minnesota fans need to stop crying. The kids played with an edge and they made plays. That's my concern too. Obviously, a lot of these guys are from Minnesota, have connections with Minnesota, vice versa. So they stepped up today with that chip on their shoulder. Is that going to be the case going forward for the rest of the games? I think that they have the bowl game on the line and you kind of got to play for it. I know Greg said, I'm not looking at that. I'm looking at one game at a time, but you're looking at that. Let's be honest.
Yeah, I'm sure. I'm interested to see how it carries over, honestly, because I don't know. I feel like with Ethan, I got basketball in the mind again. Ethan's the main guy that it kind of meant a lot to, I think, for the storyline purposes, because, they kind of, they opted to go elsewhere at quarterback. It wasn't like Harris Imiak and Shiraka were let go by Minnesota. Rutgers just hired them away. But yeah,
there though too.
Yeah, right. I just think that, like, I don't know. When I forget what I asked Schiano about that caused him to talk about it, but he went into a whole thing about the chop, which he obviously loves to do all the time, during one of his game week press conferences. And he said, people can say it's corny. Yeah, it's probably corny, but it's our thing. And I think he really does live by that. And he drills it into his players to live by that as well. Like, I think it really is a real thing that they talk about. We're staying in the moment and staying in the now. He brought out an interesting one this past week for the game week for Minnesota. He said, if you're trying to look at anything else, you're stealing from now. Was how we put it.
So we do have the press conference. I don't know if you want to break it down real quick. It's only 13 minutes long. Can't be that bad.
Oh, what the heck? Why not?
Yeah, right.
Hey guys, thanks.
That's too bad.
Thanks for sticking around, for covering us. Really proud of our team.
Love the hoodie.
It's pretty well chronicled. We're a little beat up right now, but a bunch of guys laid it on the line for their teammates, and super proud of them, super proud of our staff. They really busted their hump to get some things cleaned up, and just a really good win for our program. So try to answer any questions I can.
It looked more like what we're used to seeing out of your teams. What do you think the difference was today?
Well, we're just a little bit healthier, but I think the biggest difference is Coach Harasimiak literally stripped it down to the studs and rebuilt it in weeks, which I don't think he slept. And he and I, talked a lot. I'm just so proud of him, the leadership that he provided to the whole defensive staff and to our team. And the guys played for each other. That's the biggest thing that came out of today. They just literally put it on the line for each other. And that was what we talked about all week. That was what, we don't really do themes around here, but that became a theme. Military Appreciation Day today. We had an opportunity to have a really special speaker, and I'm not going to get into names and stuff, but he was a Navy SEAL, and he talked to our team about an exercise they do, where they cover your head and they have it all crazy environment, and you take it off and you got to go, and there's one of you and five of them, and you got to get across the other side of the room. In all his years, he never saw it done. But when you put 5 guys and 25 across the room, when they play and fight for the guy on the right and the guy on the left, they get across. And I told our team, I said, we got to get across the room. It's the only way we're going to get this one done. And that's why at the end of the game, we went over, after we shook hands, we went over the other side, because that was the other side of the room. And the only way we were going to get there was doing it for each other.
Couple things. For anyone that ever thought Joe Harasimiak was going to be just obviously get that idea out of your head. That was never happening. He coached a hell of a game, and we said it before. He was able to scheme up some things. He's able to develop these guys, and that's pure development right there, just from the bye week alone. There's something else I had, and I can't remember what it was. Oh yeah, what do you mean you don't do themes? Chop, Dark Side, TBA, family.
If you ask him, you say they're not themes, they're lifestyles.
Okay, Dark Side.
Well, that's a little different.
Yeah, that also died down. We haven't heard that term in a while.
It could be because of the performance.
The Navy SEAL thing's interesting too, to have a Navy SEAL speak to the team, and I thought that was pretty cool. Definitely motivate the guys a little bit, give them a little extra juice. But all right, let's go to the next question. Love the hoodie, man.
The defense has had some rough performances, really nice. But your offense has actually clicked pretty well the last few weeks. What do you think has been the difference for that side of the ball?
I think we're just continuing to get better. There's no aha moment. I think everybody's getting more and more comfortable with the little details that are required, and the way we practice and continue to, we don't do a ton. We just try to do what we do to try to do it exact and do it well. I think our quarterback, Ethan, did a heck of a job. He's been doing a heck of a job. He's getting better and better. Really proud of those young backs today. With Kyle out, Deshaun Benjamin and Antoine. I mean, those guys just, it's a true freshman and a redshirt freshman. Really proud of them. And then there was one time I look out there and we got Ian and KJ. Those guys are, again, a freshman and a sophomore. Then Dymere Miller did a heck of a job. So proud of our guys. The offensive line fought their guts out against a really veteran defense. Really veteran, really good. Was proud of him.
Said red shirt.
That this game didn't mean anything more. Given it was his former team, obviously. Did you see anything different from him during the week, that maybe it was a little bit extra significance or anything different from him?
I really didn't, Chris. I think, let's be real. We're all human, right? And it's not easy, especially when you get asked about it everywhere you turn. But I thought what he did is he compartmentalized perfectly. and got himself in a place where he could focus on the job at hand. He did a great job of it all the way up to the very, very end of the game. Really, really proud. He's getting better. I mean, the whole offense is just continuing, like we talked about, getting a little bit better every week, and really proud of those guys.
You had an embrace with Ethan after the game. A lot of his teammates did as well. Ethan may not have looked at this as a different game, but did you get a sense that guys wanted to win this game for him because of the emotions of the game?
I think they wanted to win it for each other, not just for Ethan. I think that's the one thing that really happened this week is we circled the wagon and said the only way we're going to do. I mean, think about it. Kyle's not playing. We got 7 guys out for the year. We're leading sacker now. It declared that we just decided we can't keep. It's not worth it, right? So, and Kyle today. I mean, Kyle was close. He wanted to play. It killed him not to play today. But you don't mess around. You just don't mess around with a guy. Sometimes you got to protect them from themselves, and not an easy thing to do, right? He's top rusher and has been. But that's where I thought, as a team, they really just gave it up for each other. You look at a guy like Tyreen Powell, who obviously everyone knows has been playing hurt, playing in a lot of pain. I mean, the play of the game, right? He knocks that ball loose, and it's old-fashioned bite the ball. It's no fancy schmancy. He put his face right on the ball and popped it out, and huge.
Wait a second.
He just decided we can't keep. Kyle's not playing. We got 7 guys out for the year. We're leading sacker now. It declared that.
Leading sacker declared. Speculation. Wesley Bailey. Maybe he's not coming back.
Well, I don't. It's weird because on the availability report, he wasn't listed as done for the season.
Yeah.
Even though Pete Thamel reported that he was done for the season.
Mm-hmm. That's where it's very interesting. Did Pete Thamel? I know he's the one that broke it. Did he say via injury?
No, he said undisclosed, I believe. Same with Kyle.
Okay. Yeah, but Kyle, I think we kind of speculate it's probably a concussion, just the way he smacked his head on that ground against USC. Wesley Bailey's interesting. That's interesting. And then he might have slipped up there, to be honest. Who knows? And just a lot of speculation on my part, but definitely something noticeable about that one.
Yeah, I'm looking at the availability report, and he said 7. What did he say? 7 guys out for the season?
Yeah.
So I'm looking at the availability report. You got Muhammad Toure, Kenny Fletcher, Sam Brown, Brian Felter, Victor Konopka. That's 5. 6 would, I guess, be Wesley Bailey, but he's not listed.
Okay.
I don't know who 7 is.
Abram Wright, Tyler Needham.
That's definitely one. Yeah, I didn't even think about that. Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know if you would know that quickly. I mean, you definitely would if it's a pop, like what we kind of thought Abram Wright might have been.
People were saying, I didn't see the replay or I didn't see a good angle of it, but I had some of my friends were saying that he might have popped his Achilles. I hope not, obviously.
I mean, not gonna
but that's
yeah.
That's one of those things that you can kind of see on a slow-mo replay. I hope it wasn't that, but that's what people were saying. So maybe that's it. I don't know.
Yeah, that's interesting. Something to keep an eye on. But let's finish this out.
He put his face right on the ball and popped it out.
We heard that.
Hands coordination, but the second half, you cut all the big plays. What major adjustments did you make in the second half?
Yeah, I didn't see it that way, to be frank with you. I thought we played really well in both halves defensively. We had a couple penalties, that's uncharacteristic of us. We usually don't get those kind of penalties. But I thought they played really hard the whole game and got after the quarterback. We didn't get him down in the first half. That was the difference, right? We had him dead to rights and didn't get him down. The second half, we got after him and got him down. And, you look at that running back, he's a really good player. I think as a team, they maybe rushed for 30-something yards. Again, hats off to those guys, and DJ DeBomi, just all year long, a guy who comes out of nowhere. A guy today that I thought really played well was Bo Masco. I mean, Bo oftentimes was on their best receiver, number 9, and I'll tell you what, he played the way I know he can play. So I think, again, for each other, they went out and kind of took some risks and laid it on the line, and again, proud of them.
You tell me if you want me to pause or anything. Otherwise, I'm just going to keep going.
Yeah, no, I'm good.
Rick, how important emotionally was that play by Tyree? And maybe even just broader, how important Tyree period and his ability to play through that has been for this team?
Yeah, Tyree is a fabulous talent. As I've said to you guys before, had he not gotten hurt at Indiana last year, he wouldn't be here right now. He was literally a top 50 pick. Every person that was coming into this building and coming to our practices, every scout, that's who they wanted to talk about. His stock was going through the roof. And it was sad because he had never gotten hurt. And all of a sudden he has the one injury, and then he's coming back from that and he gets the second injury. I mean, it was very unfortunate. And then this year he gets a muscle deal that has made him, it just seems, he's a tough sucker because he just keeps fighting. He keeps fighting. And the easy thing for him to do would be say, hey, I'm just going to heal up and rest on what I did the year before, not him. He's a great teammate. And that was a huge play in the game, though, right? Huge.
Greg, how important is it just to go out and to win a game, to get that feeling back?
Yeah, it's very important. There's no doubt about it, right? When you're winning, you feel like you can't lose. And then when you're losing, sometimes you feel like you can't win. You know, and especially when you lose a few in a row, or like we did 4 in a row. And as a coach, my job is to step away and really look at it. Okay, this we've done. We did this well enough to win. We did this well enough. This is what's killing us. And like I said, I thought Coach Harasimiak, Coach Shiraka, they did an incredible job leading their side of the ball. And Eddie Allen, who works with me on special teams, he did an incredible job. Those 3 guys, great leadership, and they led their staffs, and then their staffs in turn led their players. And that's what it took. It took every last guy to get it done today.
All right, I cheated. I read the transcript. There's not really much else. There's a question about Benjamin and a question about Holland Pierce. It's a lot longer than I thought. Did you just sit there for 13 minutes too?
Yeah.
But that's really all we got, I think. That's that's all I got. You have anything else before we sign off?
Yeah, I thought Greg made a good point where it's just when you're winning, it feels like you can't lose, and when you're losing, you feel like you can't win. Obviously, that's kind of like what you've been saying all along. Winning and losing can both be contagious. They needed this win badly because I think if they lost this game, things could have really spiraled. Even if they lose next week against Maryland, there's still hope for a bowl. And I know Schiano says all the time that they're not really – that's not how they measure success if you make a bowl or if you don't. But just from a program perspective, getting back to that bowl game and the perception, it'll definitely help. So, yeah, very much needed win. I'm very curious how this defense continues to improve, or if they do continue to improve as the weeks go on to end the season, because you're not going to have a bye week every week. So we'll have to wait and see. But the progress today was very encouraging. And on to Maryland next.
Yeah, we'll see what they can do. They need a trophy for that game. I'm getting tired of it. It's a rivalry at this point.
Adam Helfgott from the Are You Screwed podcast. I forget which one he I forget. He has a trophy proposed. I just don't remember what it is. I'll have to find it. But
it's got to either be the I-95 sign, a crab. Trying to think what else. There was something else. I can't remember what it was.
State of Delaware.
That'd be funny too. I think that'd be really hilarious, actually.
My home state, technically.
I mean, I've seen so many ugly college football trophies that you can really mess around and have some fun with it. There's a civil conflict.
I was just like, can we bring that back?
Central Florida and UConn, right?
Yeah.
There's that one. There's the one I really am not. I want to say I'm not going to say it out loud. UConn and UMass.
Right. Yeah.
I think Minnesota actually has. Is it Minnesota and Penn State that have the land grant trophy?
I think that's what it is.
The ugliest fucking combination of things they could find and just put it together on a piece of wood.
Let's see if I can. I forget which one that is, but let me see if I can.
I think that's the land grant trophy, or is that Michigan State? That might be Michigan State. Yeah, it's Michigan State and Penn State.
Yes, yeah.
There's no way in hell you can find. Where's the screen share thing? Where is it?
Oh, Penn State and Minnesota have the governor's victory bell.
Oh, that's at least a little better. This one is just brutal, though. Like, what the? Where is it? What is this?
It's
and it's not small.
No, oh my goodness, that's like 4 to 5 feet tall.
Yeah, it's.
How much does that thing weigh?
I don't know. It's insane. So yeah, they got to get a trophy, whether it be a crab, I-95, Delaware. I'm intrigued to go look back and try to find Adam's proposal, but that's really all I got. If you haven't already, hit the subscribe button down below. Check us out on YouTube. We have everything. The Schiano press conference that we just watched is uploading as we speak. We will probably have another press conference, a podcast on Monday. I'm thinking probably reviewing what Greg said. Maybe we'll save it for Tuesday because there's a basketball game Monday. I don't know. We'll figure it out, but we'll definitely have at least probably multiple pods again next week, as we're kind of doing every week now because that's just our thing. Multiple podcasts.
Month of November is the college sports. I don't know.
Equinox? No, that already just happened. Kind of. Was
already.
that November? Whatever. It is what it is.
Yeah.
Yeah, we've been on here for too long. So, on that note, we're gonna sign off. Check us out on Rutgers.rivals.com and peace out.